Happy Saturday, and welcome to the Ram Ashram Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you will learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie, and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I'd like to give you a brief overview of the Satsang session. If you'll direct your attention towards your screen, you'll see the first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our life. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin its practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of Satsang. When we meditate, we withdraw consciousness from worldly objects and direct it inwards to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsang, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior. But only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The satsang that you will learn today is an inner satsang where we meditate in silence. Group session. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul. But only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, you'll receive instructions on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He's the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ram Ashram Satsang. He was born into a satsang family where he experienced his family members obtain states of enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. And during that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. And upon arriving to the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangees. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English-speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England, facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
Happy Saturday, everyone. So today, and thanks, Eddie. I was actually, I just recently was reading a Zen story, and it was a very, very brief story, but it kind of triggered off so many different thoughts. So I thought I'll share that before we practice meditation. Um, so as it goes, that there was this young man, and he suddenly thought that life should have a deeper purpose. He should pursue enlightenment and so on and so forth. And there was a Zen master that was not too far from where he used to live, and but he used to be on top of the tallest mountain nearby, and so he said, "Okay, I would go meet him there." Um, so obviously, getting to the top of the mountain itself was uh, quite a effort. There was no, carved out path. So he somehow finally got there, and then he, you know, they he met the Zen master, and after some conversation, he said, like, I have come here to, you know, uh, learn this uh, way to be uh, living with purpose, and so how do I get to that place uh, of self-realization? So Zen master thought a little bit. So he asked, like, how long will that take? He said, like, give or take about 10 years. So he said, like, what if I really work very hard at it? We thought about it and said, maybe give or take 20 years. So he was very perplexed. Said, okay, what if I give up everything and completely devote myself to this? What will it take? And he said, give or take maybe 30 years. He was like completely, now he was so confused. So, so then, you know, um, the Zen master explains that basically when you singularly focus on the result, you do not enjoy the journey. And so he said, oh, that makes sense. So he said, like, okay, let me explain it further. Let's say you have to climb a big tree, and you know where you're going, but if your focus is just on uh, where you're headed, you might not watch where you're going and possibly even fall. So anyway, so the whole thought process here, actually, as I said, like, one, it was so brief a story, but the things that it highlighted. So one of the core themes there is like living in the present moment, which I think from a meditative life perspective, that should be one of the tenets that uh, should be like almost like a byproduct of meditating, that you start living in the present moment. But because there are other things that kind of overshadow that, um, even in this pursuit, people focus more on where they're headed rather than what the journey is about. And in that process, lately, what I've been thinking is, how important it is to what you eat, how important it is to what you do. So reading about it, understanding it, versus what you actually implement, that's part of the journey. Um, so, Guru Maharaj used to say that, uh, you know, uh, not just practice, but literally um, take the strength. And he used to say, take the strength from me and implement the change. That should be the focus. Um, Another thing, this story, so where it begins is that, this person first has to to make an effort to get to the top of the mountain. So this just illustrates that when you are in this journey, when you start this journey, or, essentially the vertical ascent is part of that process. So it takes effort. Um, but when effort becomes solely focused on the result, there are some, excuse me, there, there are these, sidebar things happen. But then, something this story triggered was, you know, uh, lately I'd been thinking the way this practice is structured. So if I go back to my early years, I can actually still visualize or remember and recall, like almost photographically, that in my hometown of Jaipur, which is 200 miles west of Delhi, um, so there used to be this 3-day, 5-session annual event. Used to happen around March, April timeframe every year. And I was very, very young, and I was sitting. So there was a huge hall, and so there was a stage, and you're sitting in the back. And for some reason, like the people who had followed Guru Maharaj were sitting there to share their knowledge. But what used to happen was each one of them, when they will speak, and sometimes 3, 4 people would speak before and after the practice, um, each one will speak for anywhere from 40 to 60 minutes, each one. And imagine, like, at that time, hardly any chairs in the hall. Everybody was sitting on the floor in the lotus pose. And, obviously lately, how many can sit for 2.5, 3 hours at a stretch. Um, so I also used to think, like, this is, way too much. But um, the the reason I bring that up is, so very, very brief stories can make you very thoughtful. So before you go into meditation, where here you go into deep silent meditation, so that's like, so first you become thoughtful in a, again, everything happening here is in the positive backdrop. So you think about some very uplifting, very positive, very profound, deep concepts. You become thoughtful, then you try to, get into this thought-free state. And then you come back out, and again, the same thing, back to the, so it's almost like when you do, exercise, you do, there is, you, like, even if you're doing strength training, you make the effort, then you relax, and then again. So it's that thoughtfulness and then thoughtlessness is part of it, and everything in a very positive backdrop. So before you go into meditation, the prayers are very, the rhythm, the notes, and all that, apart from the words. And then these traditional sessions used to start and end with a devotional song. So music is integral to satsang. So all that was kind of designed by Guru Maharaj to create this environment where this, you know, uh, meditation, where this thoughtfulness, thoughtlessness, or thought freeness is integral, but all in a, very, you create that environment where that becomes a lot easier than generally it would be. So anyway, on that note, and I was also thinking that, so afterwards, my father and my uncles, started saying that speak for 5 minutes, maybe 10, maybe 15, but not 45. And again, the idea was just, trigger some thoughts which take you to really think about these profound and deep concepts, which, especially around this practice, because this practice, very simple, very powerful, but requires this effortless effort. It's anyway. So I always say meditation needs to be effortless, but then it takes that effort to make it a consistent practice, make it a deep practice, make it something that is consistent. And eventually, when, if you talk about the target state of satsang, which I have seen so many times, fortunately, is where Sahaj Samadhi. So, what is Sahaj Samadhi? Like, you don't have to close your eyes, you don't have to close your ears, you see, the beauty and the consciousness at work for real in every moment. So that's like Sahaj Samadhi, where everything, so you now live in the present moment, but at a higher state. So that's Samadhi, which is the higher state, higher consciousness, higher awareness. And Sahaj is natural. So you go back to where you ought to be. So that's what we'll practice now. So think about this transcendental energy in form of light that's right here, right now, and you know, uh, feel the presence, feel the connection, and orient yourself in a way that uh, you know uh, you actually feel that there is this profoundly powerful energy, which normally we cannot even fathom, is here and now, in form of light, and that light is entering your heart, enlightening it, and then distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming that energy, that light. Mind wanders away, bring it back. So just to keep ourselves focused on it, just think about this transcendental energy um, in form of light that's entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming one with this light. With eyes lightly closed, still and relaxed posture. Just don't do anything else. Don't think about anything else. Just uh, have this immersive experience where this transcendental energy in form of light is right here, right now, entering your heart, distributing throughout your body. You are becoming that light. Let's start now. We'll start with music, and then music fades away, and we go deep into silent meditation. And then we transition out with music. Let's start. All right. Happy Saturday, everyone. Glad that we are here in Satsang. So, yeah, it's your time, comments, questions, thoughts. Arvindji, how are you?
Namaskar, Puji Bhaiya. Happy Saturday, everybody. I was listening to your Zen thoughts, and so important that some short and clear messages. By the way, I remember attending those Jaipur Bhandaras that you were mentioning, Bunny Park, and so on my motorbike with you. And yeah, I remember those long discourses. In terms of Zen, the thoughts that were coming to my mind were Samarth Guru. And so, in truth, one needs to follow uh, the Zen leader or guru who is capable of uplifting a person's spiritual soul and through the and being the powerhouse of the transcendental energy that we are all seeking in this meditation process. Um, and the other thing, the example came to my mind is surrendering. So Param Pujya Guru Maharaj's two principal disciples, who you know, Param Bhagavat, Param Pujya Panditji Maharaj, and Param Pujya Gangadharji Maharaj. They both went to Gaya, Lord Buddha's place, where there's a hot springs, and they were trying to swim. So one of them was struggling. So I remember Param Bhagavat Panditji Maharaj said to Gangadharji Maharaj that just lay down, relax, and don't struggle. Let go, and you'll float. So that thought was coming to me, that one needs to not make too much effort from one's own side, but learn to surrender to that energy. Um, and that's the thought that came to me.
Awesome. Wow. Yeah, it kind of the short story kind of triggered so many thoughts, and um, you know, it's like the entire uh, the most you know um, the real deep concept in Gita, which uh, is talked about, is like how do you detach yourself from the results and focus more on your effort, uh, and that too, in a way that it's not like effort has a different connotation. So Guru Maharaj used to talk about focus on your duty, what you have in control, what you can do, and leave the rest. Uh, you know, but then, while meditating, I was thinking just how that's one of the most difficult things to understand what my target is, and then keep the focus in a way that it is effortless, but still you are moving in the right direction, because directional stuff is also very important. Which direction things are going, because another thing I was lately thinking about is that mind tends to focus on so if the negative is the downward trend and the positive is the upward trend, mind isn't just, I don't know, it's like the entire culture, the entire approach is that it just focuses downwards. And even it is, Guru Maharaj documents that negative things catch up the mind so much more faster um, than positive. That's just another thing that is so very naturally with us. So that is why, like, climbing the mountain is like, that's the first thing. So that's the uh, thing. Like, vertical ascend will take effort, But yeah, it's very fascinating. Like you make the effort, but you still don't feel that you're making an effort, um, because in a way, another example, both Guru Maharaj and his guru used to provide is that, once you have, um, you know, decided that you want to pursue this path, there are ways in which you can be uplifted through somebody else's energy, which is like you are on the um, upward climb, but somebody gives you a rope that you can, and somebody else pulls you up. So all you're doing is like holding the rope, but that is where the faith and belief and your part comes in. What else? Any other thoughts, comments, questions? Otherwise, Eddie, what's the wrap-up thought for today then?
I just summarize what you mentioned today. As aspirants or practitioners of Ramashram Satsang, there are certain principles that we should learn to take to heart and practice. And the two things you mentioned today are among those. And the first one that you mentioned was that we shouldn't focus on the end goal because it hinders our progress. And then the second is that we should direct our thoughts towards spiritual things prior to entering into this meditation practice where we try to establish a peaceful mind. And that's important. And so you mentioned the 40-minute lectures, but now obviously they're much shorter. But also in preparation before that is the music that we play during these sessions, and that's all designed to help you just sort of leave your worldly matters behind while you prepare for Sanjeev Ji's opening lecture before we get into meditation. So yes, these two things are important, and these are principles that we should take to heart and remember, and just practice those each time and every time that we are in satsang.
Yeah, fascinating concepts. Hope we'll get enough strength and focus to implement some of this. But let's practice, all that. It becomes clear when, but Eddie, the whole, somebody was saying that it's not just, the goal is not to become thought free. It is this whole exercise where, strength, I mean, the significance of silence we've talked about, all these things. So thought freeness brings in a whole new perspective, whole new way of listening to our conscience, our inner voice in a whole new way. But then you reflect, contemplate, and yeah, Karen.
Yes, hi. I'm here.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
So what? How was the session? Any thoughts, questions, comments?
I think it was a good session for me. The transitioning in and out, and if I'm understanding, the gaining of spirituality before trying to go deeper into meditation is still a process for me.
Yes, yes, it is. And it's for everyone. I can tell you, the more I have thought about like how Guru Maharaj has packaged this for us, it's at the end of the day, there is this moment of silence, which is so hard to get to. But that is true in the true sense of being in the present moment, being worry free, because when there are no thoughts, you cannot have, worry and anxiety, etc. But then before and after, you have this transition in and transition out, where in the transition out, you absorb that energy, you store that energy, you increase your capacity, uh, and going in, you have to detach yourself from what's happening in the real world, and before you go into this thought-free state and the silent state, a real silence of, you know, uh, uh, it's not just your word and, you're not speaking, or you then stop thinking. That's the real silence. So to get there, you have to, transition in with, orient yourself differently. You completely change your mindset, focus, and then go in. So transition in and transition out, that's the whole crux of this practice.
Yeah, I saw a brief interview with a painter in, I believe it was Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting. He said he does not paint what he sees. He paints what he feels from what he sees. And in doing so, somehow he said it transmits him to a higher being with, I think he meant God.
Yeah.
And makes him realize he no longer has any control.
Right.
I know that sounds so abstract. No,
it's not that abstract. It is, in a way, our practice is pretty much that. It's like, instead of painting, I think we are just absorbing that and then pursuing it further in terms of uplifting ourselves further. Pretty much.
Exactly. That's what I thought also when I heard him speak, which raised the question, could it be that one struggles with this higher energy because one is resistant to giving up control?
Absolutely. That is why, I mean, even if we so strategically and, I think as a whole, this control is actually nothing but tying things to the result. Because when we make the effort towards the result, we want to control and go there, specific place, rather than you give in and you say, I want to do what's the best effort I can make, and where it gets to will be the result of that, or other things that are outside of my control. They are actually outside of my control, and hence I shouldn't worry about that. right? So that is a concept that my grandfather writes about Razi and Riza, like living in his wish, uh, according to his wish, and that is basically the results are not in my control, but the best effort is. So let me do what I have in my control, and let me give up to the gods, and the rest is up to this. And to me, this transcendental energy is something that defines. All religions believe in this. You uh, provide a name or not, but it's this transcendental energy which transcends the world, which uh, you know is which is the ocean of peace, the ocean of joy, ocean of strength, inner happiness. Um, so achieving that gives you that ability to, just be comfortable with what is, and yeah, that is living in the present moment. So that, this talk about that. Going from limited to the limitless is the journey, spiritual journey. So, yeah. So in a way, to take the higher form, you have to give up the limited form and melt into that.
I guess one also, if one sets his or her mind to putting forth their best effort, and then permitting the Supreme Being to handle the rest.
Right.
One must be also prepared to accept what that outcome might be.
Yeah. But see, the whole perplexing thing is that we actually, if you think about it, how much is in actual control of ours, it's absolutely minuscule. But ego makes it, so ego is just a state in which we think we can, do a lot more than we actually can. We can do a lot, but where is the energy coming from? Where is the strength coming from? Where is the guidance coming from? Where is, we don't even understand where we came from and where we're going for real. It's consciousness, because the more I read about consciousness, it's like we're we're literally completely ignorant about what that concept is. So
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you look from a scientific angle, you look from even, more practical angle, you look from a spiritual angle, you look from a, religious angle. I mean, if religion was all the answers, then why do we, religion is responsible for more wars on this earth than anything else. Is that the answer? Why is there so much confusion that we are collectively, we are always going downwards rather than upwards? There is no clarity. There is no clarity of purpose, even after being, guided in so many different ways. Why? Because the mind, the way it is, it's like you call it brought up, the culture, the people, in the name of progress. I mean, what are we doing? killing the climate. What that means is like we are making more harm to the future generations and to ourselves in so many ways. Is that progress? So there is this whole concept of entropy where it's just everything is kind of disintegrating. It takes effort to integrate. It takes effort to find the purpose. It takes effort to gain clarity. I really love this quote from Confucius that you can get wisdom either through trial and error, which is very bitter, or through imitation, which is the simplest, or through reflection, which is the most noble. And that are the three ways in which you can get towards the higher consciousness or wisdom. Wisdom is nothing but, being clear, having that knowledge, having that ability to apply the knowledge so that you are clear on where you're going and why. So the practice we do is like, Eddie gave me the book, Imitation of Christ. What that means is that you can imitate these leaders who achieved higher consciousness through imitation. What does that mean? It's like just become them, become the light. If you want to be the light, merge with it. So that's what we do here. Right. I think what Arvindji just texted is like, yeah, basically, if you want to become limitless, you merge with it and give up your limited identity, then you become the unlimited identity. So this transcendental energy, what we do in this practice is become that energy, become that light. So that is part. So the last part of it is giving in or giving up or surrendering, but in a way towards a higher goal. All right, on that note, I think let's continue to be with light, love, and peace. And the only way to do that is to continue to move in the positive direction, stay oriented in the right direction, and continue to, effortlessly make that effort to be with it, like letting go. You have to, I think there is this little bit you got to do to let go. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Bye.